Hello everybody. It's Playing Baked. I just had a really nice lengthy live stream in which we accomplished something. Woo! Um, and since it was so much fun to set up, I'm just gonna run through it briefly. Um, what we're staring at is a rainbow generator. Now, I want to automate it as much as possible. There's one thing I know I probably can't automate, which we'll get into in a little bit. Even that I automated as much as possible. But yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. A rainbow generator is this little block, which is made by, well, I can quickly show it. It is made by putting a bottom half and a top half together, and both are made with 8 different generators from extra utils too. So there's a whole bunch of generators, and some of them use fancy things. So you have, for example, well, that's a bad example. So I thought I clicked on this one. So yeah, you have, for example, a culinary generator, which works on food items and anything other like non-food item. If you stick coal in there, it won't work. Anyway, I want to automate all the materials for all these generators as much as possible, but also overdo it a tad. So, for example, with the culinary generator, you can see I have 20 speed upgrades in them. If I take them out, one bit of bacon and eggs will take a minute and 6 seconds and something to chew through. However, with 20 speed upgrades, that drops significantly down to 3 point something seconds. So, if my frames are a bit dodgy, it's because there's a million and one things going on the platform below us. Um, there's a whole bunch of different generators. I'll not mention each and every one. Some are obvious, like the ender generator uses ender balls. Lava generator uses lava. Well, magmatic generator uses lava. Furnace generator uses all combustible items. Anyway, long story short, what we set up today was the automated resource part for the Dischantment Generator. The Dischantment Generator, say that 3 times fast, works on enchanted items and thus also enchanted books. Or it works on enchantment, so it works on enchanted books and items. Anyway, um, this was fun to set up, not quite. So I'll briefly go through what I did in the live stream, well, and parts that I set up before the live stream. Uh, Before I already had a decent amount of mana income with some cakes being generated automatically from all the resources and fun stuff like that. Um, in fact, I already had thought of that a long time ago with basically the identical setup here. Although this has just one mana pool, and it is the mana pool above catalyst thingy. So what we're using that for is to get nether wart for um, for our potions, basically, which is nearby. But anyway, um, we're getting mana. That's a good start because we're using this mana enchanter. Basically, what's going on here is that we have our nice little book with whatever enchant and some item to enchant. Um, with this mechanical user, we're continue. Well, I'll even show what the setting is. Activate block with item. Right click. We're continuously clicking on this, so each and every time either it pulls the item out or it sticks the item in, if available and if it is allowed in. While this is running, you can't pull it out by default by the mana enchanter, so we didn't have to deal with that. The other thing is we need to activate it. We activate it with our one of the forest as usual, yada yada. But we set this up with a nice little comparator, so we only use this or only start this even when we have a full pool of mana. Meanwhile, this needs not just an item to enchant, but also a book with an enchant to do that with. So instead of just tossing the book on the floor and letting it despawn after 5 minutes, what's going on here is that the book is being picked up by the hopper hawk, it's shoved into this chest, it's piped into the open crate, it's dropped on the floor, and well, with a really sophisticated pressure plate, we start to show slow delay, enabling the hopper hawk again, um, and making the loop complete for the book. Now, meanwhile, we saw it enchant something in the background. Now, the enchanted item goes back into the mechanical user because, well, that's then the item that's ready to pick up. And only the enchanted items are pulled out here, and we shove them specifically in this chest over here, where we have a nice little other setup, which was hell to figure out because in this pack there are no there is extra utils 2, there's not extra utils 1. Extra utils 1 has the nice pipes that I can't think of the name for the life of me. The hyper rationing pipes, of course. With the hyper rationing pipes, you can make sure that only one item gets piped into some inventory. I didn't have that. So half the time of the 4-hour live stream I spent figuring out this contraption. I wanted to drop a book because, okay, what's going on here? This is the atomic reconstructor combined with a lens of dischanting, which given on a block space, a enchanted item and a book, well, or sufficient enough books to cover all the enchantments. Well, anyway, long story short, this rips the enchantment off whatever item and puts it on some book. So we need to drop a book here together with the item. So basically, when it's done enchanting, it gets shoved into this chest here. We detect that that item is in there, and then we tell this item conduit to start sucking out stuff. But because then we don't have any. Okay, let me finish that thought real quick first. When it is pulled out, it goes into the open crate and back down on the pressure plate. Where from I had another problem because turned out, despite the other tricks and things, I occasionally got 2 books in here with my sword. So anyway, I'll get to the solution of that later, but what's going to happen is stuff falls on the pressure plate. We activate the atomic reconstructor that pulls the enchant of the item onto a book, and then our item goes back into the system here, and our book goes to the system there. Long story short. So, um, yeah, that's basically what happens. You can see it real briefly. Um, Something else that we have here is, okay, we have at least some way to make, pardon me, we have some way to make sure that there's at least a book going in there. So we have a detector here. Basically, if there's no books, we get a real quick pulse with some trickery and whatnot. That tells this doohickey to, in principle, only suck out one item. Somehow, it every now and again misbehaves and pulls out two. So we have our nice little books. They go into our chest here, and what happens when there's too much items currently is that we detect that, and then if there's enough space in that inventory, which is a bug that I'm currently just finding, but yeah, if there's too much books, it tries to pull it out and stick it back into the chest. I probably should make a overflow. That's a trivial solution, so I'm not gonna bother with it currently. Anyway, the spare books that we eventually get put back into the system, and we burn them in the Dischantment Generator. Something that I have set up was the, or well, set up as much as possible, but currently I'm transitioning from one system to another, is the halitosis generator. We have a decent backlog of that. It doesn't matter at the moment. But long story short, not only do I want to automate all the resources for all this stuff, but I, for the most part, want to have as much speed upgrades in all the things possible. We've set up almost all the things. The last thing to automate is the nether star generator, which will need the nether stars, of course. I've got a fair amount on me just to prove that this thing already works. It just doesn't work completely, fully hands off automatically and all that. But if we shove in some nether stars, we should see our sparkly rainbow generator up and running, and we were vector plates, yay. So yeah, the next live stream will probably be setting up the wither killing box, which should be not much more than a copy of what I already have. So yeah, this was the most annoying to set up. By this I mean the disenchantment thing that I just showed. Although I did have some fun with the potion generator as well. Anyway, long story short, it is time to grab the achievement book. Ta-da! Still some work to be done, but I know that it works. That's for sure. There's a few things that I probably will never be able to speed up as far as I want them, like the pink generator, because that already burns through a item in half a second without speed upgrades. So I think if I did the math correctly, it's about 6 stacks and 12 items per second or per tick. I'm not even sure which of those. Um, but a lot of stacks of dirt and in a too quick time to be feasible. That's um, why am I saying dirt instead of pink? It turns out that the pink generator, at least in this pack, also works on dirt. I don't know if dirt is pink or not. It looks more or less brown to me, but I'll take it. At least you can see it takes already half a second for that without speed upgrades. So you can imagine that it will be a bit of a struggle to keep up with that fully upgraded. Anyway, still a few more live streams to come on this topic. I just wanted to ramble a bit about the last 4 or 5 hours. And with that, thank you for watching. See you next time.